The North Atlantic storm was already destroying smaller fishing boats before the Arctic Crown spotted the giant bluefin tuna. Every fisherman on the Arctic Crown knew the dangerous storm could end the entire voyage within minutes. 27-year-old deck worker Eric Solberg prepared the heavy lifting cables before the giant catch reached the surface. The Arctic Crown detected an enormous bluefin tuna moving beneath the storm waves. The fishing net suddenly became heavier than anything the crew had ever pulled from the ocean. The overloaded hydraulic winch began shaking under the unbelievable weight of the bluefin tuna. Every steel cable on the Arctic Crown sounded close to snapping apart. The bluefin tuna was almost as long as the rescue boat attached to the Arctic Crown. The storm forced the exhausted fishing crew to fight both the ocean and the giant tuna at the same time. The first full glimpse of the bluefin tuna shocked every fisherman on the Arctic Crown. The overloaded crane motors began screaming under the extreme weight.
Captain Lars Henriksen ordered the entire crew onto the flooded deck.
The giant tuna nearly destroyed the side rails of the Arctic Crown. The dangerous fishing operation continued even after sunrise disappeared behind the storm clouds.
The crew needed industrial lifting hooks, normally used for cargo containers.
Every movement of the overloaded crane required perfect precision.
The main harbor crane began showing signs of structural failure. The Arctic Crown was taking water faster than the pumps could remove it. The exhausted crew could barely believe the size of the bluefin tuna. The bluefin tuna was too large for the standard processing platform.
Looks like 312 centimeters right to the fork. 312. Got it logged?
The metallic skin of the bluefin tuna looked almost unreal beneath the freezing rain.
Additional steel supports became necessary to protect the overloaded deck.
The Arctic Crown immediately changed course toward the nearest industrial harbor. The return voyage became even more dangerous with the extra weight on board. Captain Lars Henriksen worried the overloaded vessel might not survive the storm. Every sudden wave threatened to send the giant tuna crashing across the deck. The fishing crew worked non-stop to secure the unstable catch. The Arctic Crown looked painfully small against the violent North Atlantic storm. After 6 terrifying hours, the harbor lights finally appeared through the storm. The harbor operators had never prepared for a tuna this large. The entire harbor stopped working after seeing the giant bluefin tuna. Even docking the overloaded fishing vessel became extremely dangerous.
The giant bluefin tuna finally left the Arctic crown after a brutal night at sea.
The enormous catch looked almost unreal, hanging above the stormy harbor.
One uncontrolled swing could seriously injure the entire dock crew.
The violent harbor wind nearly turned the lift into a disaster. The dangerous harbor transfer succeeded by only a few centimeters.
The transport vehicle barely handled the unbelievable weight. The dangerous operation continued despite worsening weather conditions. The giant bluefin tuna was heading toward the largest seafood warehouse in northern Norway. The warehouse team prepared emergency processing equipment immediately. The frozen processing floor shook under the weight of the giant tuna.
International seafood buyers arrived before sunrise after hearing rumors about the giant catch. The massive bluefin tuna could become one of the most valuable catches of the year.
The warehouse scale revealed a shocking final weight.
Several experienced fishermen had never seen a tuna this heavy.
The giant predator had survived decades in the freezing Atlantic Ocean.
The dangerous processing stage finally began. Only the most experienced seafood cutter in the harbor accepted the job. The processing crew carefully rotated the massive tuna for inspection.
The deep red tuna meat confirmed the extraordinary quality of the catch.
International buyers immediately began discussing record-breaking prices.
Each processed section weighed more than a fully grown man.
The freezing warehouse temperature protected the valuable tuna meat.
Standard seafood equipment failed under the extreme weight.
The giant tuna required equipment normally used inside meat factories. For the exhausted Arctic Crown crew, the impossible operation was finally ending.
Captain Lars Henriksen quietly watched the storm disappear beyond the harbor.
The dangerous North Atlantic storm had nearly destroyed the entire operation.
The giant bluefin tuna became legendary across the northern fishing industry.
Several harbor workers later admitted the overloaded crane had almost failed. The battered Arctic Crown survived one of the most dangerous fishing nights in company history.
The processed bluefin tuna was prepared for international export.
The valuable seafood shipment would soon travel across the world. Every section of the giant tuna carried extraordinary commercial value.
The giant bluefin tuna attracted record offers from international seafood companies.
The exhausted Arctic Crown crew finally allowed themselves to celebrate. The violent North Atlantic Ocean had finally become calm again. Every piece of equipment on the Arctic Crown carried scars from the storm. The Arctic Crown returned home, carrying a story no fisherman would forget.
Captain Lars Henriksen knew the legendary catch would change the company forever.
The enormous bluefin tuna became a symbol of survival against the storm.
Eric Solberg understood how close the operation came to disaster. Many experienced dock workers still refuse to believe the recorded weight.
The small fishing vessel suddenly became famous across the northern coast. The North Atlantic Ocean continued hiding even larger mysteries beneath the waves. Every fisherman aboard the Arctic Crown remembered the terrifying first moment. One wrong movement during the storm could have killed the entire crew.
The impossible catch looked more like a creature from ancient legends.
The exhausted crew pushed industrial equipment beyond normal human limits.
The freezing Norwegian air finally became silent after the brutal storm. Inside the warehouse rested one of the largest bluefin tuna ever processed in the region. Despite the terrifying danger, the Arctic Crown would soon return to the Atlantic Ocean.
The North Atlantic Ocean always rewards courage with unimaginable risks. Somewhere beneath the freezing Atlantic waves, another impossible catch is still waiting.